by the Lubavitcher Rebbe in Tav Shin Nun Tes, which in normal American terms is 1989. And it talks about the holiday of Shavuot, the holiday of the giving of the Torah. And, okay, and in the first two chapters, the Rebbe asked a very interesting question. He asked a very interesting question, and he said that it's not his question. It's questions asked of a lot of great genius rabbis. And this question is, why do the Ten Commandments begin with I am God that took you out of Egypt? The first of the Ten Commandments is I am God that took you out of Egypt. Anochi Hashem Elokeicha even though it is not stated as a commandment, it does not say believe that I am God who took you out of Egypt or something like that. But that's what it is. That's what it means. I am God who took you out of Egypt. It is a commandment to believe in God. Believe in God. And why does it say that I am God that took you out of Egypt? Because going out of Egypt is a very big miracle. Very big miracle. And the Rebbe is going to explain other reasons also. But I just want to say something here that has nothing to do with the Maamar. The Rebbe doesn't say this in the Maamar. There's a book which is called the Smach, Sefer Mitzvahs Katan. Sefer Mitzvahs Katan. It was written, 800-900 years ago. And there, in the first commandment, he says, where did the Jewish people get the idea of Mashiach, that we have to believe in Mashiach? Where do we get, does it say somewhere in the Torah we have to believe in Mashiach? Is there a clear commandment there that we have to believe that the Messiah is going to come? It's the Maimonides has his 13 principles of faith, and the 12th principle is to believe that the Mashiach is going to come, and to wait for him to come. To believe and to wait. So, where did he get it from? Where did he get this thing that you have to believe in Mashiach and wait for Mashiach? No, let's say Mashiach is going to come. There is such a thing as Mashiach. But that we can find in the Torah that there is such a thing as Mashiach in Judaism. Which is going to be, you see in Judaism, the great leaders, that they are the ones that they begin the whole thing. Abraham began, and Moshe, the Jews, there was no Moses. The Jews would have never left Egypt. If there was no David, there would be no building of the temple. It had to be the prophets, always keeping people in line. And Mashiach will just be the final great figure that's going to make everybody do what Abraham started and what Moses continued. And everyone will believe in God. Everybody in the whole world will believe in God, the Creator. Everybody. Good, it's going to come. But who says we have to believe in it? Where does it come from? We have to believe in such a thing. We have to wait for such a thing. God will take care of it on his own. Why do we have to believe in it? So over there it says in it, but the Rambam doesn't say that. The Rambam says that we have to believe and wait for him to come. We have to do something for him to come. Right? We have not wait passively. That's what the Lubavitcher Rebbe and the Baal Shem Tov also. It's not the Baal Shem Tov, but that we have to wait for the Mashiach to come doesn't mean we have to wait passively. It means we have to wait actively. We have to really expect him coming. And where do we get it from? So it says he got it from the first commandment of the Torah. I am God that took you out of Egypt. Why? Because we see that the belief in God by the Jews is not just to believe that there is such a thing as God, or that God creates the world, and that all of nature comes from God, or that God gave us a Bible, that this Bible is the way, the path to the world to come, into a better life in this world. Those are all wonderful things, and they're all true. That's all true. But there's another thing here. Another thing. And that is that when we believe in God, we have to believe in the God that took us out of Egypt. In other words, he changed the whole entire world for the better. Changed the whole entire world, and that was by means of Moses. So we have to believe that God, not just that he took us out of Egypt back then, but the thing of Mashiach is that God is going to do it again. He's going to change the whole entire world. And that we have to believe in that. We have to believe in it. And just as back then we went out of Egypt, we had to do something to go out of Egypt. We had to Pesach offering, we had matzah, we had to go out, but now also we have to do something. That's from the first commandment. Okay, let's go. You sure Baruch was on his way? He was like walking. All right, we'll see. Let's go. Gimel. Hine, behold. Okay, so what do we explain? Listen. So what he says. Why? It's a question by all the rabbis. Why did the Torah start the Ten Commandments? Why is the first of the Ten Commandments? I am God that took you out of Egypt. All the great rabbis ask, why didn't the first commandment say, I am God that creates the heavens and the earth? Right? I am God that creates the heavens and the earth. First of all, it comes from a deeper source. The creation of the heavens and the earth comes from a deeper source, and it's a bigger miracle. Right? That's what we learned the other day. So the Rebbe says, and really the question is also in place because, morning, gotta try. Okay. Also, it's in place because just the same way that the world is created every single second, so also the Torah is being given every second, brand new. How is the Torah being given every second, brand new? How? Who knows? Remember what we learned yesterday, Kobe? How is the Torah being given every second, brand new? This is Chassidut class, right? Chassidut, you have it in the How is the Torah being given now? You see, we're standing in the desert, the sky is shaking, our souls are jumping out. How is it? If that's what it says, yes, it's true. But how are we supposed to, when do we feel that? When are we supposed to feel that? Huh? Every day, but very good. But how? When we do what? What do we have to do to feel the Torah is being given brand new all the time? Close. Huh? Studying the Torah. When we have to do things. Think and talk. When we think and we say, this Torah, when it was given by God who is infinite. If God's infinite, he's above time, means right now also Torah is being given. When can we feel it though? When we think this thought and we learn Torah out loud. You say the words of Torah along with this thought, a little bit you can start to feel this Torah is being given by God who is infinite, and if he's infinite means that he's giving the Torah right now. It's above time. So when I say these words, I'm saying the words, the same words that God said back then, but they're eternal. It's like he's saying them right now when I say them. So the Torah can be brand new, but you have to have both these two thoughts. God is infinite, and he gave the Torah, and so the Torah I'm saying now is infinite. Baruch, did you say the blessings of the morning? Morning blessings? That is truly unfortunate. That is unfortunate. But it's never too late. You should say the blessings of the Torah before class. You did. Good. Okay, let's go. So that's the first two paragraphs. The first paragraph asks this question: why doesn't the Torah start with the creation of the world? Of course, we know it doesn't, and God doesn't make mistakes. So he's just asking a question. It's amazing. Second is the creation of the world would have been proper to put in the beginning of the Ten Commandments. It would have been proper. Why? Because the Torah is supposed to be brand new. And this would remind us to be brand new, like the world is created brand new. The creation of the world doesn't have anything to do with the commandments. What? Is that true, rabbis? Is that true? That's something that young man just made? First of all, right, very good. Without the world, you couldn't do Torah mitzvahs. All right. Another thing is in the beginning of the Torah, how does our Torah begin? Gracious. It says that the Torah was created for the Torah and the Jews. Bit ratios 2. Very good. So you answered your own question. Not only that, the whole world was created for the Torah. Right? You can say the Torah was before the world, but it's like, let's say you have blueprints for your house. It's before creation of your house. But after you finish building a house, who cares about the blueprints? Right? Same thing with the Torah. The Torah is the blueprints of the world. After the world was created, who needs the blueprints? You got the world. So it says, but the world is created for the Torah. In other words, it's not just created by the Torah, which is true, but it's created for the Torah. In other words, why is there such a thing as the world? Why are there bad things? Part of the blueprints are there people who want to steal and kill and lie and cheat, do those things? Maybe that's what God wants. Maybe that's what we should do.
But no, it's all in the Torah. This is what we should not do.
Right. So that's why the creation of the world it should have been in the Torah, to know that the whole world is in the Torah.
Not the Torah is in the world, right?
There we go. That's right. Not that the Torah is a book in the world. And with this book, we'll know how to get out of the world. It's like our map that we can know how to properly get into heaven, do the right things and the wrong things. That also could be true. That's also true. But that's not the main thing. The main thing is that the whole world is inside of the Torah. So what to mean? In other words, the whole entire world is the small picture. And our job is to show in the world the big picture. In other words, God, first of all, number one. Number two is to know that the world is important. God puts it in the Torah. The world is tremendously important to Hashem. Right? That's why He created a world. The world is part of the Torah. So if we just see the whole big picture, then we can put the small picture in the proper place. Understand? People, it's a really big problem in the world in general with human beings is priorities. What's really important and what's not important. That was the idea of Chassidut. Chassidut came to show the world what God really is. Then all of a sudden, everything is put into its proper place and its proper position. You know what I'm saying? They say to have friends and have a good time. It's a good thing. But it has to be put in its proper perspective into what's right and wrong. If all the friends don't want to keep Shabbos, what do you do? Like, these are your really good friends. These are really, nice guys. You really get along with them. You know, so you say, well, I got a choice. Either I can do what they say, or I can not do what they say, or I can try to convince them to do what's right. They say, listen, guys, we can't keep Shabbos. We can't do this. It's not Shabbos. Come on, wait. We're going surfboarding or something like that. We're going, right, jet skiing. I know it's the most fun thing in the world. It's only on Shabbos. We got free tickets. There it is. Yeah, 500 miles per hour on the water. There's no experience like this. They take pictures while you're doing it. You'll have it for the rest of your life, right? It's Shabbos. I can't do it. Come on, what a square. You don't want to? Forget it. You're not our friend anymore. Go to the rabbis, right? So you could say, okay, listen, I'm not going to do it. Right? It's not right. There's God. Right? I'm not doing it. I want to go to heaven. I don't care about heaven. I want to have a good time. Let's do it on Sunday, any other day. But I'll do it standing on my head. But Shabbos, guys, come on. There's God. So they say, no, we're not doing it. No, listen, hey, 1 second. You guys also shouldn't do it. Come on. Let's be right. Let's figure out a way to do this on another day. And you know what? It'll cost us money, so I'm willing to put in, let's say, I'll pay for another guy. Come on. Somebody says, yeah, he's right. Why do we have to do it on Shabbos for? Now, all of a sudden you can convince them. But it has to be that you really see the big picture, right? That you see that there really is God, and He really does care. Then you don't so angry anymore, because the Torah, you see, it contains in it the whole world. So on one hand, the world is not the whole picture. But on the other hand, the world is important. It's in the Torah. And the world is an important thing. We should do it properly. Right? Let's go. So that's the Rebbe's Maamar. The Rebbe's Maamar says, why doesn't the Torah start with the creation of the world? And that's the first paragraph. The second paragraph is that really the world is being created constantly, and so is the Torah being given constantly. So it would be proper to put the creation of the world in the first of the 10 Commandments. I am God that created the world constantly, to teach you to think that God is doing things constantly. Same thing with the Torah, is constant. Says the Rebbe, but the fact of the matter is, this is a wonderful question, and this is a great question, but that's not the way it is. Hashem decided to put going out of Egypt first. Right? But nevertheless, the question is a good question. Now the Rebbe is going to say, the fact is the Torah does start with the creation of the world.
But that also makes sense. Since the world was created before the Torah, and the taking out of Egypt was in order to give the Torah, so I'm going to get out of Egypt in order to give you the whole purpose of life, which is the Torah, which is the whole purpose of the whole world was created.
But so therefore, what there?
Therefore, it is justified that the command is, I am God who took you out of Egypt. Because why did I take you out of Egypt? In order to be a God unto you, to be the Torah, which is the whole purpose of creation, and for you to.
Good. Listen, you don't have to excuse God. God wrote it. I am God that took you out of Egypt. Here we have another question. The question is, why didn't God start with the creation of the world? Creation of the world comes from a higher source of godliness. Number one, the creation of the world has to be constant all the time to remind you that the Torah is constant. So, there's a couple good reasons there why the Torah should have started with the creation of the world. Of course, God decided not to do it that way. We're not trying to say, hey, God made a mistake here. We got you. There's something God wasn't thinking here. Here we caught him. Caught him asleep. No, that's not what we're trying to say. We're trying to say the Torah starts with creation of with going out of Egypt, and it's good that it starts with that. But still, there is a place to say maybe it should have started with the creation of the world. The creation of the world comes from a deeper source, and the creation of the world is constant. All right, now let's see. Gimel, hine, behold, al pia yedua, according to what is known, shegam, that also, sha'ala, be with me. You want a pen? You want a pencil? Anybody want a pen? You have a pen? Pencil. Al pia yedua, it's known, al pia, according to Shaila, I'm sorry, al pia yedua, according to what's known, shegam, that also, sha'ala, a question. Torah, in the Torah. He is Torah. Question. That a question in the Torah is also Torah. If there are people who ask questions, of course we're talking about genuine rabbis. A genuine rabbi asks a question on the Torah, and even if he comes out that he's wrong, but the question is still a question. The Gemara is filled with questions, statements, arguments, and only one side is right. Right? You have all these arguments. The whole entire Talmud the whole thing is just filled with arguments, especially the Babylonian Talmud. It's all filled within the Mishnayos are filled with arguments. Right? Rabbi Eliezer says like this, and the Chachamim say like that, and Rabbi Meir says like this, and Rabbi Akiva says like this, and Shammai says like this, and Hillel says, and all arguing one with the other. And the Gemara is filled with Abaya argues with Rava, and Rava argues with Rava, and Rabbi Yochanan argues with Reish Lokeish. All these people are arguing and arguing. Why are they arguing? Because both opinions are also Torah. Only one opinion comes out to be right, but both of them are Torah. So it says even a question in the Torah is also Torah. Torah Emet, the true Torah. So move on, so it's understood. Now here you have to hold, because in this paragraph there's going to be long sentences, so you have to really be patient over there. So question in the Torah is also Torah. Here what is our question? Why don't the Ten Commandments start with the creation of the world? Of course they don't, but the question is also part of the Torah. It's also a good question. Move on, so it's understood. Tezeh, that this, shemuva, that is brought, Bekama, in many, Drushim, Maimorim. Yeah, but not here. Drushim is Drushim of Chassidus. Many Maamorim. Maamorim is these discourses of the Rebbes. That's called a Maamar. The Matan Torah, the Matan Torah. Haya. Matan Torah. I'm sorry, I skipped a word. Very good. Shahat Chalat, at the beginning. That the beginning of Matan Torah. Haya was Tarich Liot, necessary to be. It should have been. At the beginning of Matan Torah should have been Bebriat, in the creation. Shamayim, of the heavens. Eretz, and the earth. who is Gam also Aliba according to Emet, the truth. In other words, if somebody asks a question and the question is a good question, then even though he's wrong, right? He says, hey, the Torah should have started with the creation of the Ten Commandments. Should have been, I am God who created the heavens and the earth. Okay, he's wrong. It shouldn't have been, but because it's a good and an accurate question, then therefore it's true. It's also part of the Torah. What does that mean? To know that in addition, to this, Shahat Chalat, at the beginning, call a Torah of the entire Torah, he is Breshit, quote, Breshit, in the beginning, Bora Elokim, God created, Et HaShemayim V'et HaOretz, the heavens and the earth, right? True. The Ten Commandments don't begin with the creation of the world. How does the whole Torah begin? Kobe? Breshis. What's Breshis? What? What is it? How does it continue? Breshis what? Mayim V'Doros, right? So the Torah does begin with the creation of the world. Maybe the Ten Commandments don't. Ten Commandments, and that's the question of this Maamar, right? And the Rebbe he's not answered yet the question why God decided to. Oh, very good. Very good.
Yeah, so we different. That just like the Torah doesn't begin with I took you out of Egypt, then rather Bereshit. So the first commandment will begin. So the first commandment will begin that you Egypt in order to give you the Torah, the whole purpose of the world. And the beginning of the Torah gave precisely when I created the world. And so they really coincide.
Very good. Excellent.
And
Excellent.
I gave you the Torah.
There's someone who agrees with Hashem, but it doesn't have to be that way. We have a very good question that says why? Who says you have to do it that way? Start off the Torah however you want to. Start off the Torah with the first commandment. Let's say God took the Jews out of Egypt. That's how the Torah starts. The Torah starts out, and it was that the Jews had suffered in Egypt for 210 years. Right? If I was going to write the Bible, that's how I would write it. I'm sure a lot of people would agree with me also. If the Jews suffered in Egypt at the hands of the Egyptians for 210 years, they were massacred, butchered, raped, killed, burned, made to work hard. And along came Moses, took him out of Egypt and gave them the first, and beforehand he gave them the first commandment. Count the months. That's the first step. That's how Rashi starts the Torah. You know? Rashi starts off, the Torah didn't have to start off with the creation of the world. It could have started off with the first commandment, counting the months. So the Torah starts off with the commandment. Then we get to the Ten Commandments. And what do the Ten Commandments say? I am God who created heavens and the earth. That'd be good. I am God. Of course it's God who's giving us the Torah. Of course it's God. He took us out of Egypt. The whole thing talks about how God took us out of Egypt. The whole beginning, right? We'll start off with how God took them out of Egypt. Everybody knows God took them out of Egypt. There's all these chapters and stories about Moses, the 10 plagues with this and that, how God told them and God said and God made and God did and God brought and God took away and God did and God. Finally God took them out and God split the sea and God took, everybody knows God took them out of Egypt. What we didn't know was that God created them in the earth because we didn't write it in the Torah. We started the Torah from later. So God would say in the first of the Ten Commandments, I am God who created the heavens and the earth. What do you say about my Bible? Huh? Of course, Hashem knows a little bit better than me. Yes, it's true. I admit it. I admit it. Not all the time I admit it, but my Yetzer Hara almost never admits it. But nevertheless, the fact is so. What can we do? God's creating me. I'm not creating him. So, but it could have been that way, and it would have been logical, and it would have worked out. The Torah could have started out with the Jews leaving Egypt, how God did it, and the first of the Ten Commandments would tell us that I am God that creates heaven and earth. Could be.
It's also a historical, where did he come from? How did he begin?
It'll say later on. Later on, it'll talk about how Moses on his deathbed said, remember that you came from Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. That's all. It says it later. It says, right?
No, but then it goes back to the discussion.
It says, what?
It goes back to the discussion. Isn't the creation of the world...
Good. It'll be written in Midrashim and things like that. In Midrash will talk about all these Kabbalah books, Kabbalistic books that tell all these secrets, and Midrash will talk about the secrets of the Torah. It'll be written, all these secrets will be written over there.
The Torah begins with Bereshit, because in the creation of the world is...
Okay, good. Well, yes. But you can't go around in circles. That's it. The fact is, yes, the Torah does begin with Bereshis. But the Rebbe says there's a question. Why do you have to begin the Torah with Bereshis and talk about I am God who took you out of Egypt, the Ten Commandments? First of all, everybody knows that God took you out of Egypt because it's written in the Torah so many times beforehand. But we might not know that God created heaven and the earth. Not only that, the heavens and the earth is a bigger miracle. Not only that, the creation of the heavens and the earth is constant. It shows that the Torah is part of the world and it's also constant. Be good. So the Rebbe doesn't really answer the questions. He just explains why the question is a good question. Not only that, the Rebbe now is saying, not only is it a good question, but the fact of the matter is it's true. Torah does start with the creation of heaven and the earth. It doesn't have to. Torah starts with the creation of the earth, Gam, and also Hatchala at the beginning, Mishnah Torah of Mishnah. What's Mishnah Torah? Mishnah Torah of the Rambam. You with me, Kobe? Also, the beginning of the Mishnah Torah of the Rambam also starts off with the creation of the world. So we have the written Torah does start off with the creation of the world, and the oral Torah starts off with the creation of the world, because the Rambam said that his book is the summary of all of the oral Torah. The Rambam writes, with my book, you can learn my book, and you don't need any other books. You can learn my book, you'll know all the laws. That's according to the Rambam. We are now on the 5th line, and it's in the Rambam's parenthesis, the Rambam. And also it starts off in the Rambam. How does the Rambam begin with the creation of the world? What does it say there in the Rambam? In the Maimonides, what does it say? It says, it starts off that the foundation of all the foundations is, he is, Leida to know. Sheyesh, that there is. Sham. Sham is actually an extra word here. Yesh Sham, that there is. Matzoy Rishon, a first existence. Matzoy means an existence, Rishon first. The who and he. This is the Rambam. Quote, you should know, Leida, you should know, Sheyesh, that there is, Sham, Matzai Rishon, that there is a first existence, the who and he, in this first existence, Mamtzi, brings out, Kal Animtza, all existences, the Kal Animtzaim, and all that exists. Lo Nimtza'u does not exist, Ella except Me'amitit from his true Imatza'o existence. That's how the Rambam says. Let me say it again. Okay, you with me, Kobe? You with me? Don't go to sleep. How does the Rambam start off? That we must know, Leida, we must know. See, be with me. See where we have the place? Have the place first word? No. You're not in the right place. The first word in the line is in parentheses, Rambam. 5 lines down. You have it? 5 lines down. First, how does the Rambam start off? We learn the Rambam. Rambam is very important. Rambam says he's the greatest man since Moses. From Moses, it says until the Rambam, until Moses. From Moses, who took us out of Egypt, to Moses Maimonides, there was no one compared to Moses Maimonides. It's from Moshe, Moshe, Lokam Moshe. From Moses, who took us out of Egypt, until Moses Maimonides, there was nothing like Moses Maimonides. Rabbi talked about it. Even all the prophets, Rabbi Akiva, all these people, they weren't like the Rambam. Rashi, nobody was like the Rambam. What can I do? I said Rashi, what do you want Rashi? What about Elijah the prophet? Elijah the prophet. All these great prophets were in the middle. Isaiah the prophet. These people. He is Leida to know. Sheyesh, that there is. Sham, I say Sham as I said. Matzoy Rishon. Kobe, be with us. No, right. Where are you? You're in the wrong place. You're not with us. That's it. To stop yelling at you. Come on, be with us. No, turn on. He is, first after the word Rambam, all right? He is Leida to know. Sheyesh, that there is. Sham. Matzoi Rishon, a first existence. Vahu and he. And this first existence, Mamsi brings out Kol Nimsa, all existences. Kama, Vakol and Nimsoim, and everything that exists, Lo Nimsa'u, does not exist, Ella except Me and Mises from true Himatzo, his existence, from his true existence. In other words, our God is not a being, he is the being. There is nothing else except for God. All there is just God. And everything that exists comes from God's existence. Here it's saying something more. We'll learn. The Rebbe is going to analyze this. But there is a first existence, and everything that exists only exists because God gives it existence. Good? So what is that? That's creation of the world. We're saying that there's a first existence, and that's God, and everything that exists, namely the whole world, comes from Him. So if so, we see that the written Torah starts off with the creation of the world, and the oral Torah, which is the Rambam, also starts with the creation of the world. That's how the Rambam starts off. That in the beginning, the Mishnah Torah, first word of the line, the Mishnah Torah of Mishnah Torah. What's Mishnah Torah? Akiva. The Rambam's explanation, the Rambam's summary of the whole entire Talmud. In the beginning. In the beginning. The Mishnah Torah of Mishnah Torah. And to add. That in the beginning. If you want to, you can write down the numbers. After class, the ones you don't get, we'll sit together and I'll give you all the words. Mishnah Torah. But you can stop and ask me. But just when we have to make progress. In the beginning of Mishnah Torah, Mavur is explained, lo, not, rak, only. Inyan, the subject. Habriya, of the creation. B'chalalut, in general, that the Rambam not just explains in a general way, like it does in the Torah. The Torah, what is the Torah? The Torah just says, God created the world. That's all. It just says God created. We don't know how. There are books in Kabbalah. There's a book called Sefer Yetzirah. There's a book which is called Tikkunei Zohar. And these books explain much more in detail how God created the world. Also the Eitz Chaim, the books of the